The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. This is a very insightful book, even if you're not really into the religious side of what this book talks about. I think you should really take a second and give it a chance to really see what type of points that Florence is trying to make throughout this book. Now, I'm not sure if Florence is a guy or a girl name now that I think of it, so we're going to go with a she. Now, she does talk about how you must have faith in Christ and all these other things. But these points, they all still hold true, even if you're not so much into that kind of thing. So one of the first quotes I want to talk about from this book is, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." Now let's just let that sit in now for a second. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. What does she mean by this, all right? Death and power are in the power of the tongue. Death and life, I should say. Well, what she's saying is what you say manifests itself into the world. In the book, she talks about this as when you say certain things, it goes into another plane and some type of third energy creates it and causes it to happen. But she also makes another point to say that when you use disempowering language, okay, when you say, I feel like I could die. Oh, I feel so good today. You're actually speaking to your subconscious mind, right? Your subconscious mind takes everything in, no? How do you communicate through your subconscious mind? Well, everything communicates to your subconscious mind. So when you speak in disempowering or empowering ways, it will actually affect you. I'm not sure if I'm conveying this message because it's very powerful, okay? When somebody says that they are tired, they're actually becoming more tired. You're speaking it into existence. And one of the biggest points of this book is don't say that you feel bad. Do not say that you are so angry or that you're so sad or you're so depressed, even if you are, even if you feel it in that moment. Okay, Tony Robbins in his book, Awaken the Giant Within, he talks about this point a lot too. And he says, if you feel sad, depressed, annoyed, whatever, you shouldn't express it to the utmost with your language. That doesn't mean that you can't express it at all, okay? Don't get me wrong. It's very important to express yourself. If you do not like the way things are going and you need to let other people know, let other people know. But you don't have to do it in a way that disempowers yourself and makes yourself weaker and the situation worse. Instead of saying that you hate your life, instead of saying that this is the worst day ever, say, wow, I wish this went better, or wow, this could have went a little bit better. Do you notice the difference? You're giving it a lot less power. You're giving it a lot less death, you could say. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Instead, talk of it as if it's no big deal. But still, if it's that bad, you still have to give it a negative. But you could say it's a little annoying. I'm slightly peeved about how this went. It's made me a little bit frazzled. You don't have to say that this is the worst thing ever. You're going to manifest it even worse. It's going to do a cycle, so you say it again. You feel worse, you say you feel worse. And then you feel even worse, and then you say you feel even worse. You see where we're going? Nowhere good. Instead, what if we said, I feel kind of bad, but it's a good way to learn. We're repositioning the whole situation. That way, we're not losing. Use filters when you talk, but not in the way that you think. Do not limit your speech, but use it to empower yourself. Do not let it limit yourself. I hope I got that message across. If not, leave a comment below and I would be happy to let you know what I was trying to communicate. Now the next point. There's two quotes I want to say for this, okay? And it's 2 points, okay? Let me read the quote to you. Face a fear fearlessly, and there is no situation to face, and man's only enemies are within himself. Now, these points you probably have heard before, but I just want to stress exactly how important they are. how limiting it is to be fearful, how limiting it is to have problems and put them externally outside in the world when they're actually internal. Okay? Face a fear fearlessly, and there is no situation to face. What is fear? Okay? Is fear out there? Can you hold fear? Can you touch it? Can you see it? You might be able to see it in somebody. You can't smell it. I know animals say they can smell it. You might be smelling hormones, whatever, but you're not smelling the emotion fear. You can't touch it. You can't hold it. Fear comes from within yourself. And in this quote, within himself. This is such an important point to realize. It's so hard to communicate, and it's much harder to implement, but it's still important that you understand it. There's no such thing as fear. It's inside you. You've created it. All of your life you've created, really. What is your perception of reality? Your perception and my perception are two different things. For example, okay, somebody might perceive the world is black and white. They're colorblind. The rods or the cones, it should be the cones, I think, they don't work correctly in their eyes. They perceive the world as having no blues or no greens, or blues and greens look the same. But to me and you, maybe not to you, you see greens, blues, they're all different. It's because you perceive the world differently. Just like how people might perceive situations and become fearful of the situation. I hope you understand what I'm trying to convey. Fear all comes from within yourself. So, to face a fear is to face yourself. And how do you do that? Well, you do it every day. You convince yourself of things all the time. You learn new things all the time. It's more than just saying to just do it. It's to understand that it comes from within yourself. And the only thing that controls stuff inside of you, what controls inside of you? You. I can't control your thoughts. I can influence them. But only you have the control. So you have the power to eliminate fear because it's inside of yourself. Nobody else can help you with that but you. But it's in realizing this is the first step to take in your first step towards freedom of the battle of within. Now, there's one more point out from this book that I wanted to talk about. I do not have a quote for it, but it's very good. Okay? And it relates back to the tongue. All right? Death and life are in the power of the tongue. And it's that when you speak, you must be meaningful in your speech. If your speech loses its meaning, you're in a dangerous game. Okay? In the book, it talks about having faith in the Lord. Okay? The Lord will bring us our prayers, and you pray, you have real faith, your prayers will be answered. And you may or may not believe in that, and that's okay. But let me bring another point. For those of you who do not believe in that, what about the placebo effect? How many of you have heard of the placebo effect? Okay. Most of us have, but I'll go over very quickly. Say you take a sugar pill, but you were told it will give you energy. You were told it will clear up your headache. You were told it will make you remember things more efficiently. But it's just a sugar pill. But yet that we are told and believe that this pill will help us, it does help us. We do have more energy. We do remember things better. Our headache vanishes. And there's real science behind this. There's real mechanisms inside our mind, inside our body, real hormones and proteins all being released, causing us to lose our headache, have more energy or whatever. But it's in the belief. Do you see? You see? I don't know. Man's only enemies are within himself, but his allies are too. Okay, if you believe in something, I'm not saying that, like, if you believe that you're going to make $1 million and you just pray, and you truly believe it's going to come to you, but I'm saying it could help. Okay? When you believe what you say, give meaning to your words, and then you also compound this with empowering speech, well, guess what? In this belief in empowering speech, you have become more powerful. not only have you spoken, or is that how you say it? Spoken, whatever. Not only have you talked to your subconscious mind, but you also have the placebo effect in effect as well. You're compounding two different ways. They use your speech to make you stronger, empower yourself, and no longer will you limit yourself. On the flip side, if you don't believe in what you say, your word has no meaning. And a man with no word is no man at all. All right, that was pretty bad, but it's also good in a way. I hope you guys got the points I was trying to convey. If not, take a look in the description. I'll write a little paragraph about each one too, just to flesh out the thoughts. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I will be happy to reply. Thank you.